Picture this. I'm in my office. It's afternoon. I had a long morning. I got my feet kicked up on my desk, and I'm just thinking like how I'm gonna conquer the world. And my phone starts ringing. What'd I do? Pick it up, right? Hey, this is Jack. You sent me a letter. You said you want to purchase my property. I will sell you my property if you could buy it cash. Like out of the woodworks. I forgot I even had sent this man a letter. I said, yeah, for sure, yeah. When can I meet you down at the property? He said, meet me down there tomorrow at this time. Met him down at the property at exactly the time. 24 hours later, right, I'm sitting in this man Jack's truck, right here in the back of the alley. I'm literally in this man's truck, just talked to him, just met him 24 hours ago, just talked to him. And he's telling me why he wants to sell it, what his plans are. He's an 80-year-old man, has a 52-year-old autistic son that is going through some health issues. He wanted to sell it because he wanted to finance the procedures that his son needed. That was his motivation. And that's really my lesson number one. Remember, we're doing business with people, whether you're a broker, whether you're an investor, someone on the other side has a motivation. Uncover that motivation up front. I'm sitting in this car, I'm in this truck, and he's telling me like his whole life story. And I'm being a human being, listening to him, actually engaged and want to know more about what his life, his story is, and what his motivations are. And that ultimately, obviously established some type of trust that allowed me to create an opportunity for myself. Okay, so that's lesson number one, guys. I really want you guys to take that home. If you take nothing home, you're a human being, and we're interacting with other human beings in this industry. So just want to know, be curious about the other person, and have good intentions, and understand their why, what motivates them. Okay, he walks me through the property. There's a tenant in here. They screen printed. Literally, I couldn't even walk through. He had machines everywhere, ducting. This place, we'll get more into exactly what it looked like prior to, but this guy was to the brim. Like there was no space to operate for this man anymore. He tells me the lease terms. The property was on a lease month to month. When I heard that, boom, I heard opportunity. Why? Because I know that it was leased for $1,700 a month, well below market rate. And I knew that because he was on a month-to-month term, I could either raise his rent or get him out at any time. Okay? And I'll elaborate more as to how that transpired afterwards. We go back into his car, and I tell him, hey, Jack, well, the property needs work. I understand, why you want to sell. I can offer you $300,000. And he looks at me. He stays quiet. And he tells me, Richard, that's lower than what I need. I'll sell it to you for $350,000. What do you think I did? I shook his hand. I said, I'll take it. Why? Because I knew my numbers. That's another important thing to be aware of. I knew that this property fixed up would go for about $325 a square foot. This is a 2,250 square foot property. If you pull out your calculators, that would calculate $730,000. Not in the condition that it was in, but the future potential value of this property, right? So when I heard 350, I could have went back 325, 340, but why haggle and get greedy when I already knew there was a good opportunity still to be done there, right? So we shook hands, literally went straight to escrow, put my deposit up. 2 weeks later, closed on the deal. I talked to this man literally within 3 weeks from him calling me, the deal was done. That's another lesson. You got to be ready. When opportunity comes up, you have to be ready. I'm going to emphasize one thing. This man had a why. He had a son that was sick. He needed to sell. He wanted to sell. Obviously, he had some type of relationship with me. He saw something in me, and he gave me the opportunity. He knew he was selling it for lower than what he could get. But that's opportunities that are created when you're just a good human being. What happened during escrow? Right? I really want to go over those 2 week period because it was quick. 2 things that I did. I got a property inspection. I checked the physical components of this property. I wanted to make sure that I was not buying something that was going to fall down after I purchased it, right? Did a general inspection. I got the roof check. I got the plumbing check. Got the electrical check. Got the foundation check. All things checked out. The roof is shot, but I already knew that coming into it. So that was something that I was aware of, right? So if you own commercial real estate or if you plan to buy commercial real estate, get your phase 1 done. This is an environmental inspection that any lender is going to require, any conventional lender is going to require before they fund a deal. And this was important to me because I didn't want to purchase something with contamination, thinking that I could get $730, but realistically, I'm going to have to get a 30% price reduction because it's contaminated. So I did that environmental phase 1, and sure enough, everything checked out, closed the deal after that inspection came back. It's literally an insurance policy for your property. You can consider it like another insurance policy. When I took over the property, like I said, I talked to the tenant. he actually came to me and said, hey, Rich, look, I don't know what you plan to do with this property, but as you can see here, I need a bigger space. So me being a broker as well, what do you think I did? I'll help you find something. So actually Angel and I were able to help him buy another building where he's now able to, go on his happy way with his business and continue to grow as he was doing here at this site. So that's when I took possession, and he got out here fairly quick. And afterwards, he gave me the keys. I met him here. Guys, when I tell you, this was like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre scene in this place. It did not look like how it looks right now. There was ducting all through the property, unnecessary air conditioning ducting. There was gas pipes, extending from the walls. There was a drop ceiling here, one of those old ceilings that you would see back when you were in school. You could just pop your hand through. Like, this place was a mess. Paint all over the wall. It literally looked like a massacre in here. It was bad. I could keep going on and on and on of how bad it was. So what do you think I did? I rolled up my sleeves and I started painting on the walls. I did not do that. I did not do that. I actually reached out to Juan, one of my past clients, and he referred me to a nice gentleman that was able to come in here, bid the work, and I saw eye to eye with him, and he started working on the site here. It's still undergoing some stuff, but I feel comfortable marketing this property now and showing it to potential users for the site at this point. Okay, so that's really the middle section. If you take anything away from that, when you're about to buy a commercial property, get your phase one. Get your insurance and understand what you're buying, right? Understand the zoning. I did all that prior to closing. I already knew the zoning prior to this. Is M2 property. It's industrially zoned, and I know the uses and the potential tenants or buyers that could occupy this space, and I saw a lot of value because of that. So know your numbers, know your market, know your stuff. Educate yourself. Instead of watching that Netflix film tonight, maybe go on the local city use code and see what you can and cannot do there. The exit strategy, right? My plan with this property, and that's really where I really want to go into the nitty gritty, because I mentioned the value, right? At $325 a square foot, this property to an owner user, right? To someone that wants to buy a property for themselves on the public market, I could sell this for $325, which would equate to $725,000. I purchased this for $350,000. I'm in it at about $20,000 right now with just the cosmetic repairs that you see here. I'll probably put in another 10, so let's call it $380. You could do the math and look at the spread there. In commercial real estate, properties are not just valued on a price per square foot. And that's why you guys are all here today, because I think this is where the arbitrage occurs. This is where the magic happens. I know that in commercial real estate, properties are also valued by the income approach, which is the net operating income of this property, right? Like what is the return on this property as an investor? Because a bank is also going to value it that way as well, right? They could value it based off of cap rate, which is that income approach, or the price per square foot. I'm going to push for the cap rate all day, as you'll understand why just in just 1 second. Going into this property, I knew I could rent this out for $2 a square foot. Fixed up, I knew because of where it's at, proximity to the freeway, what I was going to do to it, and the demand. $2 a square foot. This is 2,250 square foot property. That's $4,500 a month, gross. In order to get the income approach value, I would have to deduct my monthly expenses, which would only be here, my property taxes and my insurance. That is going to be a little bit less than $500. Let's use $500 to keep the math simple. That is $4,000 a month net, like like in my pocket, out the work after all expenses. $4,000. Multiply that by 12. That's $48,000. That is the net operating income of this property. If you divide that by the going cap rate, it will give you what the value of this property is on an income basis approach. So the going cap rate for an industrial asset here in Los Angeles County primarily is about 6%. Take that $48,000 divided by 6%, and it will pump out a value of $800,000. So I gave you two ways to value this property. The price per square foot, what the market's doing to an owner user at $325 for this square footage, at $730,000, and I gave you the income approach. What I plan to do: lease it out for $2 a foot. After all my expenses, I'm in at $48,000 a year net, divided by 6%, which is the going cap rate, $800,000 valuation that any conventional lender will give me once that lease is executed. $800,000 valuation. I got 3 lenders right now. They will give me 75% loan to value ratio. They will loan me $600,000 on this property right here, right? It's free and clear, so I could literally squeeze out 600. My plan would be to refinance when the rates come down a little bit so that I could keep my cash flow, take out my entire initial investment. Let's say I take out 50%. Keep it that simple. At $800,000 valuation, I take out $400,000 and I just go do it again. But I want to just go over the 3 main things that I just went over, right? There are opportunities everywhere. And more than likely, that opportunity on the other side of that table, there's going to be another human being. Be a good human and understand that this is a relationship business. And that these opportunities, this wonderful quote that this woman gave me one time. She said, Rich, don't worry about that deal if you didn't get it. My husband once told me, deals are like buses. One comes around every 15 minutes. Now, there's opportunities everywhere, just like this. But just know that there's going to be someone else on the other side. Understand the motivation and be a good human and build a relationship. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, have a plan. Have a strategy for yourself. That's why you guys are all here. Maybe you guys already know this stuff. Maybe you don't. Maybe after this you're inspired to go talk to a broker or a financial advisor on how you could start building wealth for yourself as well. Have a plan, because you're more than likely going to attract what you think and what you're conscious of. So have a plan. And lastly, number 3 is definitely just believe. You got to 100% believe in yourself. Repeat the process. Be consistent, because for those who can consistently do something without seeing the instant results, the world belongs to them. With that being said, I hope this is encouragement, for you guys all to go out today, for the rest of the year, set some goals for yourselves, and really go start to create some wealth for yourselves.